All right, so I wanted to watch this too. Nursing is in big trouble. Nurses are like mass quitting their jobs. Like, okay, so uh, this one kind of scares me because it's just kind of like medical people are essential. Doctors, MDs, nurses, whatever you want to call it, they're essential. People are sick. Not only people get sick, but people getting injured, shot, whatever happens out in the wild. Um, People rely on these kind of folks, and these folks are quitting by the masses because they're not paid enough, they're not seeing their job worthwhile, and they're treated like shit. It's kind of a shame. So this is by Tell 'em Boy. Shout out to Tell 'em Boy. Nursing is in big trouble. Probably a great video, good YouTube channel so far. So let's give him a shot here.
The United States of America has a national nursing crisis. Let's talk about it. But first, welcome back to my channel. You see, even though nursing has a relatively low unemployment rate and is considered a stable occupation compared to other professions, there is still an extreme shortage of nurses nationwide, with an average of 9 registered nurses for every 1,000 people.
I just want to say this too. I Googled this the other day. You can Google this now. I don't know if the statistics is the same for where you are, but in my local, as of Florida, there is only like 200 doctors for every 100,000 people. That shit is insane to me. That said, if you're a doctor and you see this, now is the time to start your own practice. All right.
Well, that's a low number. Well, there are many reasons why this is happening, but something in particular that I wanted to talk about, which seems to be also a problem, is there are many nurses who are quitting their profession, who are quitting nursing. Why? Well, how about we go directly to the source and ask them, why are nurses quitting?
All right, this is a PSA. If you are a younger person, or maybe you're like, hey, I want to change in careers, and you're like, I'm going to go back to nursing school. Don't do it. Don't go back to nursing school. And let me tell you why. I'm a nurse practitioner. I got out of the shit show that is nursing. There's nothing wrong with nurses. Let me make that really clear. There's nothing wrong with techs, with providers, with nurse practitioners, with MDs, DOs, nothing, right? There's nothing wrong with people that want to go to healthcare and help people. Like, there's nothing wrong with us. Let me tell you what the issue is. The system, okay? The system is a hot mess, and it is about to collapse on itself. I'm telling you now. I can see the writing in the mirror. Our country is turning into literally a third world country, like in terms of healthcare, and it is disturbing, y'all. I'm telling you right now, nurses get paid. They have terrible staffing ratios, and someone will die on your shift. And guess who they blame? Not the hospital system who has all the money. They blame you, and they're gonna take your license away.
I feel her frustration here. Like, think about it. You're going into debt to go to school because you want to do a noble thing and work in the healthcare industry. But just to do that thing, you need to go into massive amount of debt to get a job that does not pay you enough to pay back the debt. Also in a job or a position that basically will undermine your credibility and just kick you off the boat whenever the hell that the system feels like it. Tough. My heart goes out to anybody working as a nurse. You're very much needed. Thank you for going to school for it. I'm sorry if you're not feeling it no more. I'm here for you to vent, and leave a comment in the comments below if you think that a lot of this here is true. This entire video is going to be a lot of that, so buckle up.
Don't do it. Please don't do it. Like, I don't care what anybody tells you, what any advisor tells you, and that, oh, you'll always have a job. Cool. You'll always have a job that risks your life, that ruins your sanity and ruins your mental health, and is physically debilitating because you walk around for 12 hours a day, you don't pee, you don't eat, and everyone treats you like and you get paid less than the person at Target. Don't go to nursing school. Do anything else. I don't give a go work at Target. Damn, it's better than what has become of our healthcare system. Don't do it.
I would rather crash my car than go back to work in the ICU. That was the most miserable job I've ever had in my entire life. Before the ICU, I had no mental illness. Now I got depression. I got anxiety. I should see a therapist. I should probably be on medication, but here we are. You would think that seeing people literally die in a traumatic fashion, that would scar you. Turns out it's just shitty coworkers. I've told this before, but like one coworker would only call me Jackie Chan. I wish I was Jackie Chan. And then one other coworker said that I belong doing kung fu in a dojo than being a nurse.
I like his little Batman pin and the little Batman on his badge, bro. Yo, Alex, I feel you, dog. I'll dap you up if I ever meet you, bro.
I don't know where this comes from. And I would fantasize about crashing my car every day on the way to work because I would rather drive my car into a tree than go back to work. But I worked in the ICU, so if I crash my car, I will just end up back at work. So I was just stuck.
I used to be an ICU nurse, and this is why I quit. So let's start from the beginning. I went to OU and got my nursing degree there. I have my bachelor's of science in nursing. Straight out of college, I started working in the medical ICU at OU Medical Center. And yeah, I worked there for 2 years until I met my husband. We got engaged and I moved with him. I'm just going to start out by saying, being a new grad nurse, going straight into the ICU, I think taught me a lot, but also kind of ruined it for me because ICU, as you know, is the worst of the worst. The sickest patients, the ones who are basically about to die and you're trying to stop it. So that's really hard as a 21, 22-year-old to see all of that. It's a lot of death and it's a lot of like playing God is what it kind of...
playing God-esque, yeah, I could see that. Dude, you know what? Think about all of the nurses that were trying to figure out how to like do a proper needle like to an arm and vein, right? On like a pool floaty or something. I shit you not. I had a kid just about a year ago, and I got that story from the nurse that she was a nurse in COVID and had to do all of her classes online. And basically, when they were doing the phlebotomy course, or I guess portion of the course, she had to practice on a pool noodle. I thought that was insane, bro. You know, but here we are, and she's talking about traumatic experiences too. Imagine the NICU. The NICU must be the saddest you could ever possibly experience. Okay? Not only are all the parents there already like sad and devastated that their child is in the NICU, but like if you let the child die, if the child dies because of you, my gosh, is that going to carry a weight on your heart? And is oh man, yo, only warriors can be in the NICU and in the ICU, for real.
Kind of is. I mean, most of your patients are on life support, so the only reason they're breathing or their heart is beating is because of you. So after I moved, I worked at another hospital for about 6 months before I left and took a year off. I just felt like I was losing who I was, and I had horrible anxiety before every single shift because I always got the hardest patients. I saw a lot of death, and I just felt like my emotions were just all over the place and also not there at all. It was really weird.
I quit clinical nursing in 2017, and here's why. First of all, the bullies. When it comes to nursing, I don't know if people are miserable. I am not sure what it is, but I was bullied, and a lot of other nurses, especially Black nurses, were bullied severely in nursing. They would give us the worst assignments, if the other nurses were in charge. I was getting terrible assignments.
I think that this is not, I mean, it's not cool, obviously, but it's not exclusive to nursing. Like, I feel like in every job I've ever been in, there's been some sort of weird hazing, and I don't know what that is for other jobs, but like, I, even in my job, like, I would be given tasks that were so, like, difficult to do because nobody else wanted to do them, and they would know that I would struggle to do this, but I'd eventually get it done. I'm an employee, right? So, but I feel like a part of it was done intentionally, right? Just to bully me and to kind of haze me, like a tribe thing. Like, yeah, make them do something really hard that is going to be almost needless in the entire application, and then once he finishes it, we'll just skip past any giving him any sort of credibility over it, and just tell him when there's a bug, and make him go fix it. I'm talking a lot. I'm gonna stop yapping.
Especially if I had the nerve to speak up against anything that was going on, suddenly I would be placed with, those doctors that nobody liked, or, the most difficult patients. And I would somehow always have the most difficult patients. It was way out of pocket, and I was just sick and tired of dealing with all of these crazy people who really are just miserable themselves and are bringing that misery into the workplace.
Oh, yeah, dude. 100%.
When you work clinically, it seems like there's only a limited number of directions that you can advance and expand your knowledge. Like, you could be, a clinical subject matter expert. Like, there's a couple other things, or you could go into operations or become a nurse manager. But those roles are few and far between, and there wasn't like that limitless potential that I was really looking for when I first went into nursing. And the third reason is personal. When I was in high school, I really always saw myself interested in business. I saw myself getting a business degree, starting a business potentially, like understanding finance. I was really always into finance, and nursing was just like not really giving that to me, at least not the clinical side. And then work-life balance. When you are a clinical nurse, it was better in primary care, but like if you work bedside, there's no work-life balance. Like, you're working crazy hours. You don't get to go to holidays with your family. I remember my family, they were going to I think it was like $5 Tuesdays at the movie theater, and I had to work Tuesday nights. So I was never able to go. And that was like really upsetting to me, that I just couldn't control like my own life outside of working hours, because like I was working clinically as a nurse, and I really wanted that work-life balance.
I don't know, I'm sorry, that's kind of bogus. Like, so you couldn't go to the movies. I mean, okay.
I sort of always knew this day was coming. I'm going to be leaving nursing for at least 6 months. Okay, a little background story, because I haven't told anyone what's been going on. My last job has traumatized me. I really have had more bad experiences than good, especially since doing my conversion. I think nursing has become such a toxic environment, something I don't want to be a part of. It's so toxic that on my last placement, apparently everyone at the hospital assumed that I left the TikTok space because I failed my placement. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. That is the space that I don't want to be in anymore. I've chosen to put my mental health first, and I have a really good opportunity right now, between now and February, to focus on a passion and a dream that I've always wanted to do, but have never had the right opportunity or time. And now is the right time, because I can choose to get back into nursing after a 6-month break and see how I go, or I can continue doing the next thing that I'm going to pursue. I also think that the financial goals and just the goals that me and my partner have for my life, we cannot achieve with a nursing salary. Don't get me wrong, you can make a bit of money in nursing, but my financial goals far exceed what you can make in nursing.
So I just decided to quit my job. My number one reason why I quit my job is I cannot stand coming into work and seeing the residents in the condition that they are in. What good is it me leaving? What good is it me staying? Also, most of y'all probably don't know, some of y'all do know, I do drive over an hour to work. I just bought this car. I have now put on 17,000 miles in just 5 short months. I'm burnt out. I can't wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning anymore. Damn. I'm tired, stressed. Not to mention, I only get 1 weekend off a month to see my husband. My stress and my life, I'm sorry, is more important. I hate to be that kind of person, because I'm always lifting y'all up and trying to encourage y'all to do better. And right now I'm the one failing. I've got to do what's best for me at the end of the day. I am on my TTC journey. This is not helping, and I've got to do what's best for me. So yeah.
I quit my job at the nursing home after 2 weeks. I'm gonna tell you guys why. First things first, they're very short staffed. Yes, I know probably anywhere that I go, they're gonna be short.
Oh man, I quit my job at the nursing home after 2 weeks as a CNA because they're short staffed. I mean, I get that. You could just say no to overtime though, unless they're forcing you to be there.
Staff, they declined my request off from a month and a half out, and I thought that was crazy. I was gonna quit anyway, but there was just nobody to take my shift. So it's just like, that's just insane to me. Second thing, call me a but my resident passed away, and that has literally taken such a huge toll on me. I can't stop thinking about that day. I can't stop thinking about touching the resident's hand and how cold it was. It's just eating me alive. Yes, I know as a CNA, I'm going to work with those type of things. Yes, I know if I become a nurse, I'm going to be around death. Yeah, I know. Being a CNA, I'm just seeing if I even want to do bedside. I'm not set on it. Last thing is there was an incident with a resident that there was some information that I should have known about this resident. I probably should have been wearing PPE, but none of this information was relayed to me. I did talk to my aunt who is a nurse, and she said that when you do come in, you're supposed to ask for this report basically on the residents, see who is able to walk, who needs to be transferred, why they're in there, what they have, so we can protect ourselves. But that wasn't taught to me when I was training, so obviously I didn't know to ask for that. Maybe nursing homes don't have that. My aunt works in a hospital, so maybe it's just a little bit different. I don't know. I just thought that was really, really, really annoying because I could have been exposed to something, and I want to protect myself at all costs.
Yeah, dude, what the hell?
I just had to walk outside. I'm working a night shift, and I am...
Is it me, or do a lot of nurses go outside and smoke? I think that's ironic, isn't it?
So done. I'm so done being a nurse. It's not even funny. I can't wait for my other job to take off, and I'll be done with being a nurse by this time next year. Which makes me really happy. 14 years, I feel like it was just a waste. All the schooling, all the time, everything. And I used to love nursing, but I really, and especially tonight, I'm so irked. And if you ever, become a nurse, I wouldn't recommend working in these long-term care facilities that don't give a shit about their residents. It's pretty sad and wrong. Tonight I've had 3 falls, and I've got 54 patients, all to myself. And I've got 2 very incompetent CNAs, and I love my CNAs that when they're good. I really do. I was CNA for 5 years and know how hard they work when you work hard and you're underpaid, right? But you gotta do your job. I walked into one and was helping her change a brief, only to find out she was leaving the guy with a Chuck's pad, still had and I pulled down his brief, and he had all up and down him, and his scrotum was completely disgusting. Nobody had cleaned that thing. So I'm in there cleaning that thing, and no wonder why there's a high percentage of residents who get UTIs and end up septic and all that. I mean, it's just the ones that don't care.
I hope that God affords me the privilege to take care of my own parents when the time comes, because, geez.
And then with the 3 falls, we have protocol where we have to call the DON, the doctor, and the POC for the patient. Do you know how long that takes to do? And the point of care person usually kind of cares, but I can never get a hold of anybody. And but definitely the DON and the doctors don't care. They don't care. You just leave them a message. They don't really care. I don't even know why it's protocol. It's a waste of our time as nurses to do it, for one, and and for 2, it's just a waste of time. It takes too long to sit there and find everybody's damn number. And it just irks me. I'm so done.
When I went to nursing school, I never thought that I would leave the field within like 5 years, but that's what happened. My mom has been a NICU nurse for almost 17 years now, and I thought I would at least make it to 10.
Dude, NICU nurse.
10. But within my first year of working as a nurse, I experienced lateral violence, bullying, retaliation, and severe burnout to the point where I wanted to leave my unit, but my manager was blocking my ability to switch units, so I felt trapped. Around that same time, when I was really struggling and just hoping to escape my unit, something happened. The year was 2020, and something opened up. Volunteer positions to work on the COVID cohort unit at my hospital. So I was first in line. I'm like, you know what? This will help me actually leave this role that I am being forced to stay in on this unit where I feel like if I don't leave, I don't know what's going to happen to me. I felt unsafe, I felt unsupported, and you just shouldn't trap someone in a role. Like, that doesn't make sense, and it's also not good for your mental health. So in hindsight, deciding to volunteer to work on the COVID cohort unit was not my best move. If I could have, like, Back to the Future myself and said, hey, maybe don't do that because things are going to be rough. So I basically thought working through the unknown in a global pandemic would somehow be better than
that sucks.
And the current working situation that
honestly,
I was in.
That's all I have to say about that.
Working in Florida, extremely understaffed. There are no safe staffing ratios in Florida, and actually safe staffing ratios are on the ballot now in Florida. And I have friends who I used to work with who basically saying that the hospital that I worked for is putting out statements to the community letting them know that that bill is something that should not be passed, which is absolutely disgusting because I know for a fact patients have been unsafe in those facilities that do not abide by safe staffing standards, and I witnessed so much harm because of it. But that's a whole other can of worms. So because of unsafe staffing, I was turning patients by myself. I remember I had a patient actually fall on me at the end of 2021. In 2021, I had my lowest point where I experienced SI. I needed to be placed on an antidepressant. I went back to therapy and I was not doing well. I had become numb in my role. It was like Groundhog Day. Like, I was waking up, going to work, getting through each shift, not really remembering what happened, going to sleep, and then doing it all over again. And on my days off, I would just rot in bed. And my husband actually looked at me and he said, you know, you haven't been present, you haven't been here in X amount of years, all because of my role. So flash forward to our wedding at the end of 2021, I took 3 weeks off. And I remember my last shift, like, it was one of the best shifts I'd had. We were fully staffed. I had a great assignment. My patients were so kind. It was like the perfect shift. And I had no idea that it was going to be my last. So we had a beautiful wedding in December. We had actually postponed from March of 2020 to the end of 2021. Our whole family was vaccinated, boosted, and everyone was testing beforehand. And thankfully, no one got sick at our wedding. 1 week later, on Christmas Day, my husband and I got into a car accident. It was really traumatic, and our corgi was actually in the back seat, but thankfully we were all pretty much okay. I remember I was in a C-collar with Sean in front of me, terrified because he couldn't get out of the vehicle, and I thought that he couldn't move his legs. I thought the worst. But the first thought I had when I finally sat down and had that C-collar around my neck and my husband's in a stretcher in front of me while I'm in the ambulance on the way to the emergency room, my first thought is, oh God, I have to call in. Who's going to cover my shift tonight? That was the moment I realized that I was giving way too much to my
yeah, absolutely. Should have quit, dude.
Role. I had lost the plot completely. So then a week later, I start having some lower back pain. I start having some numbness and tingling in my right leg. I go to a neurologist. I have the rain is getting really loud, so you're probably not going to be able to hear me, so I'm just going to make a part 2.
You see, I work in healthcare myself. I'm not a nurse, by the way, but I work with nurses and doctors on a daily basis. What I see personally is that most hospitals and most healthcare providers are understaffed. And because of that, nurses have longer shifts and they are constantly under pressure, which leads them to, become more burned out easily than other people. And if you listen carefully, you've seen that many nurses in this video are actually nurses who work in ICU and ICU or in emergency rooms. And these nurses usually get burned out more than others, mostly because the nurse to patient ratio in these areas is very bad. I mean, their job is already traumatizing. Now adding to the pressure of working long hours and not having enough job-life balance and all is contributing to the problem. Personally, what I don't understand is hospitals and, healthcare providers make a lot of money. I mean, after all, healthcare is one of the things which are the most expensive in this country. So why are hospitals and other healthcare providers not really hiring more nurses? Well, I guess you will say if the unemployment rate for nurses is very low, that means that there aren't actually many nurses who are unemployed. So the problem may not be that they are not willing to hire more nurses. The problem may be that there are not many nurses who want to be hired. I get it. That makes sense. But then to that I would say, then why aren't they putting more efforts into making people wanting to be nurses? Like, why aren't they giving more?
Yeah, I agree. They should lower the cost of education, lower the barrier to entry a little bit, and basically pay everyone that is in the field more money. There's too much money that is taken up by like these CEOs, honestly. Anyway, that's it. That's the end of my stream. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I'm Mr. Random Internet Dude. If you like this content, follow, subscribe, like the video. I appreciate you. Thank you.